So now next we come to the hierarchy that is called family. So family is a category which contains one or more related genera. All the genera of a family will have some common features or correlated characters. So here the example that I have shown is that all kinds of cats, they come under Panthera, and the small cats, they come under the genus Felis. Okay, so Panthera and Felis, they are put in the same family, that is Felidae. Then next in hierarchy is order, where similar families are kept together in a common order. So the example over here is the cat family and the dog family. They both share common evolution and they have originated from common ancestors. So due to that, both the families have been put under a common order called Carnivora. Then in hierarchy, next we have class. So in case of class, it has one or more related orders, and in this case you may have the example the carnivores and all the primates. Carnivores including all kinds of dogs and the cats, and the primates including the human beings and all kinds of monkeys, apes, etc. They are sharing some basic common characteristics due to which they are placed in the same class called Mammalia. Then next in order is phylum. So you have studied about plant and animal kingdoms. So all the categories there. So in the phylum we have phylum Pisces, Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves, Mammals. Okay, so all these classes, they are put under a common phylum called Chordata. So chordata includes these classes. Okay, so since all of them are very different from each other, but on the basis of evolutionary history, they share some common characteristics. You remember the common characteristics that are shown by chordates. Okay, what were they? That is, they should have a post-anal tail, they should have gill slits, okay, they should have a vertebral column or a neural cord that is present during some time of their life. Okay, so on the basis of that, these are the various classes of the phylum Chordata. Then chordates and the non-chordates. Non-chordates starting from Porifera till Echinodermata. Okay, and chordates including Pisces till Mammalia. So they all are commonly put under one kingdom known as Kingdom Animalia. Okay, so it may be kingdom Animalia for all animal like organisms, or it will be kingdom Plantae for all plant like organisms. Okay, so with that, now we come to the last topic, that is taxonomic aids. So now any kind of thing that is helping in study of plant or organism will be known as an aid. Okay, for example, right now when you are studying, in order to study properly, you need a pen, you need a pencil, you may be needing aid of a textbook, or it may be some other things as well. Okay, likewise, to study animals, to classify them, there are certain aids which are helping in the process. And these taxonomic aids include botanical gardens, the zoological parks, museums, herbaria, and the keys that are used. Okay, so we'll take them one by one. Let us first come to botanical gardens. So these are specialized gardens having collection of plants meant for study or for reference. So these gardens are not simply meant for the purpose of recreation, but they are meant for the scientific study and also to help the people to educate. Okay, so there is a definite motive behind making of these botanical gardens. And some of the famous botanical gardens would be the one that is famous in London called Kew Botanical Garden, or we have a famous one in Kolkata as well as Lucknow. Okay, so now these plants that are grown with a definite purpose, they have some information attached to every plant. Okay, that is what is the scientific name, what are its common features, okay, and then the classification of that particular plant. So it is meant for reference basically. Then we come to zoological parks. So these zoological parks, in simple terms, we call them as the zoos. Zoos, I'm sure you have seen or visited zoos. So these are the places where the wild animals are kept in protected environments. And these animals are under human care. Okay, so these are meant for recreation also, and by looking at the animals, the way they are kept, we also learn about the kind of food habits they have, and we also come to know about their behavior. And in the zoos, I'm sure you all have noticed that as far as possible, the authorities try to maintain or provide natural conditions as far as possible. So now it is going to be for your homework where you need to write uh, any one most important zoological park in India and one in UP. Okay, so that will be your homework. Then the next 8 is in form of the museum. Okay, a small kind of a museum is in the lab also. You all have visited the lab where we find different variety of plants and animals. They are protected and preserved under different conditions. Okay, so museum is any zoological or rather not zoological, but because plants are also there, we say it is a biological museum which is set up in basically educational institutions as college or school or universities for reference purposes. As far as the animals are concerned, they are dried, they are treated, and then they are put in some kind of containers in different ways. If they are simple insects, they are pinned up in a glass box, and the specimens, they are treated, and they may be stuffed inside to preserve them in their natural shape, and they may be immersed in formaldehyde, or they are kept in a jar so that we do not come in contact with them directly. I'm sure you have seen the specimens in the biolab. Okay, then after the museums we come to herbaria. So now in case of herbaria, what is done is a part of the plant is basically taken up, and that is dried after stretching out well, so that each part of the plant that is required for study is present in that part. That is at least minimum two minimum two or more than two flowers could be present in order to make out the arrangement of the flowers. Then there have to be more than two twigs in order to study the kind of the leaves and the arrangement of the leaves. If it is a small herb, then the roots also have to be intact. And if it is a large plant, then only a twig containing the leaves and the flowers may be present. So these parts are dried completely by putting them in newspapers or in between the blotting papers, and when they are completely dried, they are treated with an insecticide, and finally the specimen is mounted on the specialized herbarium sheets. Okay, and then after that a number of reference things are mentioned at the bottom, and these reference things include basically the date when this plant was collected, the place from where it was collected, the local name, the English name, scientific name, and the family to which the plant belongs, and the name of the collector. So just as you go to the library to refer to anything, in the same way, if you have to study about any plant, you go to any famous herbarium. There you will find in different files they have stacked up these plant specimens. So for reference, for study, for research purpose, you can refer to these herbaria that are well preserved um, in the stored almirahs. Okay, then we have the last one that is known as the keys. Now these keys are meant for identification of either a family or a order or for any other taxon on the basis of certain contrasting characters that may be provided, and these are known as the couplets. And these contrasting characters, maybe I just give you one example. For example, the characteristic that is mentioned is organism is one-celled. In that situation, you have to go to point number 2. And the other contrasting character that is provided would be the organism is multicellular. So if it is multicellular, you have to go to option 3. If it is one-celled or unicellular, you have to go to the second option. So in this way, again in the second option, there will be two contrasting characters that are going to be mentioned. So on the basis of that, it will be pinpointing a particular organism. So organisms are identified on the basis of these keys.